tell us what you did to get yourself put in prison, and why do you think you're ready for release today?
I had slept with my friend's mother, and I really didn't recognize that it was wrong at the time, but I do know that it was wrong now.
Now, I too cracked up when I first heard this, but this is no laughing matter. The mother that he's referring to is an 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's. You can't make it up. Now, we are going to hear from the victims of this case and the pathetic excuse made by the perpetrator. It certainly does take a different kind of monster to do this to someone's 80-year-old mother with Alzheimer's. Now, with that, let's jump into this Louisiana parole hearing.
Right. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Webster, Bayou, Dorchette. I'm in Baton Rouge, so I don't know how to talk anymore. Up there. But thank you for hosting us today. Would you introduce yourselves as staff, please?
That'd be Major Culpepper.
Okay.
And I'm Jason Johnson. I'm the program manager for the sex offender treatment unit.
Okay. Thank y'all for hosting us here. And we are talking to Mr. Joe Howell. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what is your DOC number, Mr. Howell?
635-477.
Okay. And you're here because you have applied for parole. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman to my right, and the rest of us have read your case, so we're familiar with it, but he's going to be the lead interviewer, so I'm going to go directly to him and turn it over to him.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prater. Okay, Mr. Howell, I'm gonna put some preliminary information into the record. You are officially classified as a second felony offender. Your parole date was 10/17/24. Your good time date is 4/20/28. Full term date is 8/3/2030. You had a total sentence of 13 years and 2 months for the offenses of third degree rape and possession of alprolazam and probation technical felony, which you must have got revoked while you was for this charge. Is that all sound correct, Mr. Howell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, while we have you there, did he complete a sex offender treatment? I see he did 1 and 2.
Yes, sir. So I'll remind the board, our credit is put in differently than anywhere else. And so whenever it says Bossier sex offender treatment 1 and 2, it really means all 4 phases of sex offender treatment. And he has not technically completed yet, but he is going to finish on the 28th of this month. There's really nothing stopping him at this point. He's going to graduate.
All right. All right. And Warden, do you have anything to say about him? Any comments, any problems y'all have with him, anything like that?
No, sir, we ain't had no issues out of him at all, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Howell, first off, tell us what you did to get yourself put in prison, and why do you think you're ready for release today?
I had slept with my friend's mother, and I really didn't recognize that it was wrong at the time, but I do know that it was wrong now. And I apologize to the woman's daughters. I was actually friends with one of her daughters, and her other daughter worked for the DA in Cleveland Parish, and she's the one that pressed charges on me. So I know what I done was wrong. I regret it, and I feel like I've paid for my.
Okay, and why do you think you should get out? Think you paid for your time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how old was the victim in this case at the time of the offense? Do you know about?
In her 70s.
Okay. And I just want you to note for the record that the victim, family is strongly opposed. Everyone that we spoke to in the family is opposed. You know, and she had to go to a nursing home after this event. Do you kind of realize now what kind of trauma you caused this lady?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, you ever took, victim awareness?
Victim awareness.
Here, let me help you answer that question. For people in his program, we have a version of victims awareness for sex offenders. It's called empathy and awareness, and he has taken that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Mr. Howell, the classes you're taking now, what are you learning from them? Can you tell me something about it?
We took stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 on risk management. And then I've done completed mass and empathy and awareness and living in balance.
Which one is impacting you the most? What did you learn from it?
The risk factors, the risk management.
What'd you get out of that?
I learned that you can't be in denial, and you know, ain't no use in trying to justify nothing that you've done wrong, you know. And I take responsibility for my actions and sorry for what I've done.
Okay, I have no questions.
Okay, let me ask you, what you say, it was kind of interesting. You said at the time you didn't know it was wrong, but you know it was wrong now. What kind of condition was this 70-something-year-old lady in?
She had a disability.
What kind of disability?
What do you call it?
Was it mental?
Alzheimer's.
Okay. So you knew she couldn't give consent because she wasn't capable of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
In what world could you not have realized that was wrong?
I wasn't thinking.
With him.
Okay, were you on drugs or anything, or
Yes, sir.
what kind of drugs?
Hydrocodone and somas.
All right. Have you taken some substance abuse classes?
I took AANA at Cleveland Parish and Celebrate Recovery, and I took mass here.
Okay. That's all I've got.
How long have you been incarcerated?
11 years.
And you're serving a 13-year sentence?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No other questions, Mr. Freeman? I think it's your vote.
Okay, first off, you know, none of your good time is on your record. So I'm not sure whether maybe you can't, no, you gotta earn it because you got a good time date. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they hadn't got into time comp yet. But we need to make sure all those classes are completed, especially substance abuse and pre-release. At this time, we need to talk to the victims. Mr. Ross, we'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, first off, when he said that I worked at the DA's office and I'm the one that had him arrested, that's not the case. So again, he's blaming me for what his actions were. He done this himself. The cops were called. The cops is the ones that arrested him. The DA's office itself didn't have anything to do with this. And we turned it over to the Attorney General's office to prosecute. So no, I did not have anything to do with him being arrested. My mother was not in her 70s. She was 80 years old, and she had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's for about 3 years prior to this happening. Yes, she was living at home by herself. I had a sister living there with her at the time, but we didn't expect her to stay there 24/7. And yes, he might have been a friend, of the other sister, but that still didn't give him the right to sleep with my mother that had Alzheimer's, that couldn't even remember who he even was. Didn't he know who I was? So no, I'm not going to take that he's blaming me still for this right here. He has wrote me many, many, many letters before he got incarcerated, telling me that my mother asked for it. No, she did not. So that's really about all I have to say right now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Okay, is Miss Sick there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Miss, what do you have to tell the board?
You know, I'm so angry because we were taking care of her at home. We had been taking care of her at home. After this was done to her, we had to put her in the nursing home. To us, that sentenced her death right there. And she was my best friend. I would go pick her up. We would go get ice cream and go riding. I feel like even with her having Alzheimer's, I could have continued to do that for a few more years and
Me too.
enjoy life with my best friend. I cry every day for her, even after 5 years. I would like to know why, but I won't never get that answer. Why did he do this?
Okay, Miss, I have just one question for you.
Yes,
You
sir.
knew him. Did he know your mother had Alzheimer's since you
Yes,
had been
sir.
known?
He most certainly did. We knew his dad. I know his brother. They are great people. He knew she had Alzheimer's.
Okay, yes,
And
he's.
it would be like he would come in her house during the day when he knew Pat was at work and I was probably on the road because I drove a truck.
Mhm.
He never went in at night, but it was during the day
When
that
he
he
knew.
would go in and do whatever he did to her. And she would tell me, she would cry and tell me, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I have to live with, did he just leave out of her house? Had he just finished pleasuring himself off of her and her not knowing and not and her hurting?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I got you. Appreciate y'all joining us today. I know
Thank y'all.
very, very hard. Okay, I'm ready to vote when y'all are.
Ready?
Okay, due to him knowing the state of the victim and he only got a 13-year sentence on a horrific charge, my vote today is to deny. And victim opposition.
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
Okay, and I concur with Mr. Freeman. The time is 9:36. Your parole has been denied. That's the end of the hearing, 9:36.
Okay, and there you have it. He was denied. Thank goodness. But what comes to my mind and what makes me it's just terrifying about this case is I just can't believe that this is his first time perpetrating some type of crime against a person of a sexual nature. Now there's no proof of it, right? But it's like at what he's 50 years old today. He would have been in his 40s when he did this against an 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's. And it's like you don't just pop up out of the blue and start these type of crimes. And then to think that with even just that like I don't need to have a PhD to know that and to know that he might be a danger to others. But a judge and a DA agreed on him having probation. He didn't have to serve a day in prison, but he violates his probation. Only because of that is he serving time in prison. And, to just think about that. We don't have information on this case. Lady Holly couldn't dig anything up. Of course, there won't be information. This is the type of stuff that they just sweep under a rug. So I can't share anything more with you, but thank you, Lady Holly, for pulling out this case from the bunch. And, it's incredible. He shows up here on his parole here, Think about this, all the programs that they take, all the taxpayer funded programs and the rehabilitation and all that great grandeur and stuff that the PhDs tell you will cure these monsters, these roaches, these chomos, these really creeps. Like there's nothing, I don't know what to say, boogeymen. And he gets up there and he says, I'm in prison because I slept with my friend's mother. His words after he took empathy class. Who would have thought that empathy couldn't be taught to somebody who doesn't have empathy? Oh, no, we don't have PhDs. We don't understand that. Surely, if you don't have empathy, you can learn empathy by reading a book. Clowns. It's really nuts. I get confused about who I should be more angry at, the monster or the entire system that supports the monster and profits from the monster and gaslights the public. You cannot rehabilitate this. You cannot teach someone empathy. Holy cow. Why does this get me so upset? I don't have a PhD. Mandoo, you don't understand. Surely you can teach empathy. Surely you can. He is an outlier. It's funny because it's not like out of 100 parole hearings of people with crimes of a sexual nature, do they come up, and it's like the 5% that say what they're supposed to say, which I don't buy it, by the way. I think they're just the most dangerous kind of predator because they actually can adapt and articulate. And, those are the ones that make it to be a principal at a Catholic school that then have harmed their students. They're the ones that are the most dangerous. We've covered many of those. And then you have the other 95% that still just don't get it. Even after all their programs, even after being in the Steve Hoyle sex offender program, the best that Louisiana has to offer. I don't know what's up with the outfit he's wearing. We've seen that a couple of times. I mean, I like it. It's they should be required to wear that every day on the outside for the rest of their life. 11 years of a 13-year sentence after failing probation. And he gets up there after his programs, his empathy programs, his whatever programs. He's finished all 4 of his sex offender programs. That means that he's actually teaching the class. Okay, he's a guy sitting in there in his little pajama thing, telling people, teaching them. Okay, other sex, because that's what stage 4 is. Stage 4 is you become a facilitator of the program. So think about that. He's a facilitator teaching other sex offenders that he's only locked up because he slept with his friend's mother. And the friend's mother had the connection to the DA's office. By the way, such a strong connection that the DA showed up. Oh, wait, they didn't show up. Oh, right. How can I forget that? Because they never show up. Because they don't care. And that is mind-blowing. You would think that someone would show up. It's a small world. You would say, hey, this is important. No, they don't care. But it was nice to see this woman stand up and make it a point, make it known. You can't imagine you live a full life into your 80s, only to then have this humiliation brought upon you by a monster. Then the judge gives them probation, which would be a slap in the face to everybody. Now, he violates his probation. He gets up to parole. All these years later, he actually uses the words, I slept with my friend's mother. I'm only in trouble because she worked at the DA's office. And she was in her 70s. And she comes there and lays it. And what if she had not laid down the facts? I wonder if they even had the facts of the case because the DA didn't show up. But there you have it. There you have it. And with that, I'll let you go.
What do you have to tell the board?
I'm so angry because we were taking care of her at home. We had been taking care of her at home. After this was done to her, we had to put her in the nursing home. To us, that sentenced her death right there. And she was my best friend. I would go pick her up. We would go get ice cream and go riding. I feel like even with her having Alzheimer's, I could have continued to do that for a few more years and
Me too,
enjoy
Beth.
life with my best friend. I cry every day for her, even after 5 years. I would like to know why, but I won't know. I won't ever get that answer. Why did he do this?